Okay, so it's been one of those days. I hope that this works because the computer's already crashed twice this morning for no apparent reason, and now I can't even get the screen to work. Good. Hewlett-Packard design. It's nothing but crap. Anyways, that's not why we're here today, folks. We're here to discuss Jane the Virgin. Season 1. Of course, I know you're all in Season 2, and I really don't like itsy bitsies. I don't like itsy bitsies. I like holesies. Holesies. I like the story. Now, yeah, I realize that a season cutoff is a season cutoff, but I still like to watch a season or a series completely start to finish because you notice every flaw that way. And one of the major points I do notice a lot, especially towards the end of the season, just much more evident at the end of the season 1 than it is at the beginning, is the over-shoulder shots where you have, okay, there are terms for this, and yeah, I know, my TV production glossary of terms is long forgotten in the decades since I was in college, over a decade. But anyways, the over-the-shot shoulder, which is basically you cut back and forth. You have two people talking face to face, and you see them over their shoulders of the other person. So you get a face shot and a side of head shot each time. And they go for the reaction shot. So you could see a person sitting there, and you see their face, and they're like this, and but then they cut immediately to the back of the head, and you can see the back of the head and the side of the head, and then they cut back to the front again. And it's bad. It's lazy, cheap production. It's somebody needs to be taken out back and flogged. But actually, since it's Hollywood, they should be tarred and feathered for making that mistake. Basically, why is it cheap? Because, well, actors are special and they're stars. Oh my, and they can't do any wrong. So every time they do the scene, and they got to do 10 takes, because they obviously know that if we're doing the overhead and then we're doing the reaction and we're doing this and we're doing that. Well, if you're seeing the back of my head, it doesn't matter what the front of my head is doing at this time. It doesn't matter. So every time I do the scene, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to say different words. I'm going to emphasize. I'm going to change my expression every single shot, because I always want to do it differently, because one of those shots is going to be the special shot. But what you're in fact doing as a director, which is actually probably like the least significant person in television, it's not like in a movie. I mean, the producer has the power in a movie. The producer has the power in a TV show. The director has the power in the movie. But directors, basically, your job is just the action on television. Your job has nothing to do with the cameras or anything else. All you do is what's going on stage, which is why my TV show is a music show and it doesn't have a director, because the band deals with their own internal style, their dance moves, their expressions, their songs, their music. That's all on them. See, and they come to my show and they can live or die on their own sword. All I need is someone to switch cameras and run sound. But in this instance, you need someone who can control these rampant, childlike beings. Now, we take away that bad one thing, which is very irritating because it destroys the entire show for me personally. Anything that distracts me from the storyline is bad and is a sin in production. You should never be taken out of the moment, especially in a dramatic scene, and you got people and there's emotions and you're supposed to be wrapped up in the emotions, but you got all these things that are visually shooting you out the corner. It's like right now, if there was a dancing beer, yeah, word part broken. If there was a dancing animal behind me, or just random things, or if I was editing this with 6 other shots because I screwed up a word, you know, you'd notice that. And it would be probably more irritating than me just being irritating, as I am. Anyways, otherwise, the fact that it is a pun in and of itself, on itself, making fun of telenovelas, because of course, like any other show involving Hispanics, it's all about the telenovela because that's the only thing that Hispanics relate to, because they're all about clowny hyper dramas and bad wrestling with ugly costumes. Because, yeah, I mean, those are the only 2 features. It's like when you think of Japan, you think of hentai and really weird game shows. So basically, taking out the storylines, which of course are not meant to make sense, they are meant to be overblown funniness of soap operas. Oh, sorry, telenovelas. Because, of course, in America, we can't say soap opera. We have to say telenovela because they're, like me, they're light complected. They're not white. They're not black. We're brownish olive. I'm olive, and I'm Arab and Portuguese predominantly, with some white centuries ago. And, so, yeah, and I'm very pale because I live in my bed. Okay, and as you see, I get tired and confused in these things. Anyways, the point being, it's a good show. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Despite the debacle, since the production values are so low, because of course they got to make, you know, it's not white TV, so they don't need to worry about production values, because it's part of the racism of Hispanic American television. And that's that. Now, where's my little clicky thing?